In this demo we are going to look at test a web application. Let's start the demo. Now let's look at both production and DR environment. So what you see is Oracle OKE cluster for production which is running in US West, and we have the other cluster which is running in Germany. Now we are going to use test blogging application. It's based on WordPress, and to show that, we have deployed Kubernetes dashboard for both production and DR cluster. Let me log into that. This is the production cluster and there is namespace called Blogger app. You can see it is running bunch of pods and deployment data states. Technically it was two parts. One is database and other is core application, which is serving web pages, and that's running as per deployment, and while DB is running as part of full state. And both are running their own pods. Also it's running load balancing service for main application for WordPress. DB is running as cluster architect service. Also, now we can check OCR storage. Now look at the sample application. Let's connect to it. Application is locked here. You need to log in through admin interface. You can now see that it has blog created. Also, couple of categories and sample post created. Let's go to DR cluster. You can see the dashboard. We created this dashboard to show it has nothing running. It has default everything is created, though this are primary for the Swift. This capture the image Rashi rare, which is our transient code image is located. Because Swift will orchestrate the image code while using this application. And we will now see how to create that. Since we have looked at primary and DR cluster application, now let's look at how to launch DR service subscription. This is Oracle Marketplace listings where you can see our all listings. You can select the subscription you want, and Swift shown one for DR subscription launch to show provision Swift in customer's cloud account. For today demo, we are going to see DR subscription. You can see that it is hourly charged OCPU-based subscription. And it allows you to 10 unique apps microservices per hour per OCPU. You can increase or decrease by adding more OCPU for Swift appliance, and you will essentially set up DR in any of the camp. Now you will see how to launch them. Let's click on the tab. This will redirect you to the OCI cloud account. We will launch it in DR region, which will be Germany Frankfurt, because our DR cluster is running. Because if you lose source region, then you don't want to lose Swift. It can be either in DR region or in some third region, where it can access both the source and DR clusters. Now you can click on Launch Instance. You will see it in detail. Okay, it's up. Now we are going attach volume. And now, we will select the volume, Swift backup. Check all the details and click on attach. So it will drop us on administrator cluster page. Because there is no cluster added, we can add the cluster now. We will now add production and DR clusters. Let's call it OKE production. Because we are adding our first cluster. Select Oracle cluster. We need to fill all the details. You can also look the clusters here. Okay, this is our DR cluster. Also, let's look for the primary clusters. You can see it's OKE production demo, and we have OKE demo here. Now we will give the compartment and other IDs. You need to fill all the required details. Let's locate in the US West region. Let's fill all the details. Click on the Add button. There are a bunch of other things you configured here, like when you run the transient pod and what resources you want to use. You can configure this later as well. Between this while adding, Let's see this as well. You can go to help and download the documentation. It will give you the brief and guide you throughout. So the cluster is discovered now. You can also see it has discovered all the details. Let's add DR cluster now. You can select OKE DR cloud type will be Oracle cluster. Fill all the details you see here. But yes, details will remain almost same, because it is located in same compartment but in different region. Select the region, it will be Germany. Cluster ID is optional, so click on Add button. You can now see both the clusters are added now. You can add separate disk for that. You can call it as Blogger App Pool. You can create multiple and more than one storage pool. This is just a logical grouping. Then allows you to create backups on different disk. You can also combine this disk. And right now you have ZFS. But we don't need to worry how it manages .as. This is Swift internal details. The reason it's there is drop down. Soon we will have cloud object storage options available here, so you can push your longer term backup here in cloud object storage. So DBP, you can see it does not contain any file system. You can always connect to install file and verify whether this is the right disk and add it. We will make it default. First pool is always default. Its advantage is it's always going to pick this pool whenever you try for any synchronization. Now we have done with all the trept. It will take a few minutes. Between you can start with synchronization. Then start a replication for your required application. Verify if everything is okay. Sync has lot of configuration options. You can verify those. Let's create the DR policy now. Go to DR policy. Let's create stage 1 to 2 policy. You can also create stage 1 policy. Swifts gives you backups for its data and storage. And you can explicatory move this whenever failure happens, which will provision the clusters and then restore everything. Now the cluster is not yet available. It should be available shortly. Let's create 1 to 2 policy. Stage 1 is going backup from your source cluster to storage in Swift. And stage 2 is gonna restore that backup to DR cluster to keep it hybrided. You have lot of options. Let's do by frequency. Let's do it every 15 minutes. You can also have exclude window. Stage 2 can run with its own frequency, but here we will select run after stage 1. We can also specify email ZID for the notification or alerts, so you can get the alerts on regular basis. Before you move ahead, let's give the name to DR policy. Then click on Create button. You can see now the policy is created but not applied. Let's apply it now. Rest you can fill all the details and then click on Apply. You can now see the policy is active. Also, you can see the sync chops here. You can see them, it's running. Now keep in mind that the DR setup is just a state. It's a part of DR subscription Swift. So we just started Swift, and it has started replicating and setting up DR policies. That's how easy it is. We completed stage 1 and started stage 2. Because it back-to-back stage 1 and 2 to sync. Now you can see stage 2 is running now. You will see everything is running down. Pod and service is running. Volumes are still around, and it will recreate everything in terms of Kubernetes objects. Also for object you will see that everything is retained. Sync is about to finish. We already seen application sync restore and objects. You can also see everything is restore correctly. We will now detect a sync. So you can now see that the new page is up. So the sync is about to finish. You can see that everything is restore. Let's look at the application now. So our new page is live now. For more details you can visit our website, it's RackWare.com.